Right now at 6, Prairie du Chien police identify the suspect tied to a Friday homicide.
And First Ladies Jill Biden and Gwen Walz arrive in La Crosse for their campaign event.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 6.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for News 8 Now at 6. I'm Ken Kozarowski.
And I'm Emily Brown. Testimony continues in Mankato as day 8 of Adam Fravel's murder trial is underway. An agent from the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension testified they transferred electronics, bedding, clothing, and DNA samples to the Bureau. He also moved items including clothing, hair ties, and a sexual assault kit from the medical examiner to Mayo Clinic for autopsy. Days after Kingsbury went missing, the agent searched her and Fravel's home, finding duct tape, which he says wasn't seized. Another testimony added that Fravel was bruised a week after Kingsbury went missing.
Prairie du Chien police have identified the victim and suspect in a Friday homicide. 39-year-old Jesse Slaughter faces first-degree reckless homicide for the death of 65-year-old Daniel Welsh. According to PDC police, officers conducted a welfare check on the 1000 block of East Wisconsin Street Friday night. They found Welsh dead inside a home with wounds likely caused by a sharp object. Authorities are conducting an autopsy today. Slaughter is also charged in Oneida County for disorderly conduct and criminal damage to property.
We had a gorgeous start to the work week out there. Temperatures getting up into the low 70s today, well above average for this time of year, but I'm not going to complain about that. As we go into the evening, we're not going to see too much of a change in our temperatures. Really not going to see too much of a change in those overnight lows from what we're seeing here, staying in the 60s for most of the night. In Eau Claire, we're going to see a little bit of a overcast sky tonight, moving in. It's going to keep us a little bit warmer. Here's a look at the area overnight lows. Again, very abnormally warm for this time of year. It's pretty rare to be seeing these lows staying in the 60s as we get into the end of October. Another thing that's rare is to be seeing the low 80s as we get into the end of October. We're getting into record territory on multiple accounts here. As we look into tonight's overnight lows, the record in La Crosse is 59. We're forecasting 60, so it's going to be a tight race. Same story in Eau Claire. The record's 57. We're getting at 56 for that forecast. It's going to be a tight race tomorrow too, but we're really expecting multiple locations to be seeing record-breaking temperatures tonight and tomorrow. Our records will come to a close as we go into Wednesday. However, we're still staying above average, and we have some thunderstorms on the way, so I'll break it all down in a little bit.
All right. Thanks, Nicole.
First Ladies Jill Biden and Gwen Walz have arrived in La Crosse for their campaign rally at the La Crosse Center. It's their first campaign event together during this election cycle.
That's right. We have a live camera inside the La Crosse Center here. Some speakers are still warming up for Biden and Walz. Now, reproductive health and education are expected to be talking points tonight as both First Ladies have served as teachers in their professional careers. We will have a live listen in to the First Lady and Gwen Walz once they take the stage. Down ballot candidates are also pulling up all the stops to meet voters this week with 8 days to the election. Eau Claire congressional candidate Rebecca Cook is meeting voters at a Vote for Common Good roundtable. That is an organization that's courting Christians and evangelicals to vote for Democrats. Cook says voters want candidates who are faith-based and run on values over partisanship.
And so it's important that we're talking to people from all different faith backgrounds, in particular Christian voters, that the far right I think has really worked to try to co-opt over time. And so I think it's really important for us to be showing, like, I'm also a Christian woman. These are the values that I believe in.
Cook says the people she met today are concerned about things like affordable housing and health care access. Vote for Common Good will host a film event tonight in Eau Claire.
The incumbent 3rd District Congressman is visiting Dairyland Power for a roundtable on nuclear energy. Republican Derek Van Orden says the federal government should let nationwide professionals like Dairyland do their job and bring nuclear energy into the fold. To him, that means streamlining the permitting process and subsidizing nuclear projects at the same rate as renewables like solar and wind. He believes resetting the playing field for nuclear projects will reduce Wisconsin's carbon footprint and bring residents safer, cheaper energy.
If you're very serious about being carbon neutral or carbon free, you're going to have nuke involved, so you're going to have to make an investment into these technologies.
Same titles. all different people.
Dairyland CEO Brent Ridge says utilities need better consistency from the federal government so they can make a shift to nuclear more viable over the next decade. Winter is around the corner, so they say, and the La Crosse County Highway Department is working to protect our local waterways. At today's SaltWise Equipment Open House, maintenance crews learned that just 1 teaspoon of road salt can make 5 gallons of water toxic for freshwater organisms. Local municipalities shared strategies and reviewed some new equipment to help reduce that salt use this season.
It's in our lakes and our rivers. The salt, once it bonds with that water, it's hard to get it to unbond. So we're worried about groundwater contamination, stuff like that.
They advise using salt wherever possible, especially around open drain systems.
The American honey.
We're having some audio issues with Emily's mic. We'll be working on that in real time here. The American Honey Queen was buzzing about bees today for some elementary students. The American Honey Queen is a spokeswoman for the American Beekeeping Federation, which supports beekeepers nationwide. She spoke at Crucifixion School to students about the importance of the role bees have in pollinating food. She said 1 in every 3 bites of food we take are pollinated by bees.
Some of the things are pollination. The honeybee, the commercial beekeeping industry across the U.S. is a $19 billion industry because of all the fruits and vegetables that are directly pollinated by honeybees.
She also made sure to mention the Wisconsin Honey Producers Association's Kids Bees and Expo convention. That is happening this weekend in Onalaska. The Quarter Pounder is back. America's popular fast food contained a bacteria outbreak. Next.
The Harris-Baldwin border policy puts Wisconsin families at risk. 2 children stabbed to death, an illegal alien charged with their murder, a mother sexually assaulted, her daughter abused, a Venezuelan gang member here illegally charged.
I think we're probably spending too much, throwing too much money on our southern border.
Tammy Baldwin's wrong on the border, and Wisconsin families are paying the price. Restoration PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
It's Jeep Adventure Days at Chrysler Winona. Lease a new 4-door Jeep Wrangler Willys V6 with heated seats and steering wheel for $549 down and $549 per month, or buy from $10,000 off of MSRP. Need more room? A new 3-row Jeep Grand Cherokee L with heated leather, sunroof, and a V6 engine up to $10,000 MSRP, or lease from $599 down and $599 per month. So see us today at our new location, Highway 61, Winona.
Remember when Hillary Clinton called you a deplorable?
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Well, Tammy Baldwin hates you too.
Donald Trump might be one of the most offensive and hateful and unacceptable presidential candidates we've ever had. So what does that say about the people who support him?
Tammy Baldwin is a liberal snob.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. Why hasn't she done it?
4 years, radical Kamala Harris created the border crisis. Thousands of accused murderers, rapists, even terrorists pour in. Each crime they commit makes American victims. Innocent victims of Kamala's open border agenda. They were bludgeoned, raped, strangled, stabbed, shot, and murdered. Kamala created the border crisis. She won't fix it now. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Are record high energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today.
McDonald's is bringing back the Quarter Pounder to all its restaurants this week after the E. coli outbreak.
The company pulled the burger from 900 locations after 75 people got sick and one of them died. McDonald's says a test of its beef patties found no sign of infection.
The FDA believes slivered onions from a single supplier caused the problem, and McDonald's is confident the contamination has been removed from the supply chain. But for now, the Quarter Pounders will come without the onions at the affected restaurants. Consumer watchdog groups say customers should feel safe eating at McDonald's.
You know, I'm sure that McDonald's is doing more testing than a lot of other restaurants right now. And so if they're testing their beef and they say it's good, then you can trust that. I mean, there are a lot of foods that we eat every single day. We get from the grocery store or at restaurants that are not necessarily tested as well as everything probably is at McDonald's right now.
Now, Teresa Murray is with the Public Interest Research Group. She says there has only been a slight uptick in the number of recalls this year, even though it may feel like there's been a lot. She says that it's because recent recalls like Boar's Head meat and frozen waffles and pancakes have involved higher profile brands with people getting sick.
Well, we'll have more news ahead.
But first,
we're going to see our record warmth temperatures going into tomorrow. Feeling a little bit of a cool down on Wednesday, but not much. I'll have all the details on when we'll get that real cool down coming up after the break.
My husband and I were elated to find out that we would be having another baby. But after many tests, my doctors agreed that we had to terminate the pregnancy. It was the worst day of my life. You should know that Eric Hubge supports laws that stop me and my doctor from making that decision. And that's a ban with no exceptions in cases of rape or incest. It's a ban that could turn doctors into criminals. He opposes abortion, period.
Win Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal, come have a taste of Wisconsin.
America's Dairyland.
As in real dairy.
It gives Culver's fresh frozen custard its famous rich and creamy flavor.
Like really rich.
So rich. Rich and creamy.
And our cook-to-order Butterburgers?
They're topped with, you guessed it, Wisconsin cheese.
But it's the smiles we put on your face with every meal made just for you.
It really makes our hearts melt.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Nice.
Politics these days stinks. Too much hot air, and you know what else. But I'm no stranger to putting in a hard day's work and getting the job done. I have a history of bipartisan accomplishments. It's a hard job, but I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I can reach across the aisle and pass good bills just as easily as I can walk across the barnyard with my shovel. So whether it's doing chores on the farm or passing bills in Madison, I'm Steve Doyle, and I'm ready to get back to work for you.
I'm Rebecca Cook, and like most folks in Wisconsin, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Oh, please. Don't be fooled by Rebecca Cook. She made her living trying to elect Democrat extremists. Cook proudly supported radicals who want to defund police, end cash bail, and throw open the border. No wonder extremists like AOC are spending big bucks to elect liberals like Cook. Rebecca Cook, just another liberal trying to fool you. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We saw some breezier conditions out there today. Those are going to stick around as we go into the overnight hours, giving us a light breeze, some occasional gusts in the 20-mile-an-hour range. But the heaviest or the strongest of the winds is really going to come in tomorrow. As we can see, this is at noon, so we're going to see those sustained winds still staying strong throughout the morning hours as well, but they're really going to go on the uptick as we go into the afternoon. You will notice, though, a lot of the stronger of the winds throughout the day Tuesday are staying south of I-94. There'll be a light breeze to areas north north of I-94, but nothing close to what we're seeing to the areas a little bit more south. As we go into the afternoon, we're seeing the maximum sustained wind speeds max out around 20 to 30 miles an hour. Those gusts could be really getting up there at this time, getting towards 40 miles an hour, especially in southern Wisconsin and in northeastern Iowa. Now, usually as we go into the evening hours, winds start to die down a little bit, but that's not going to be the case tomorrow. We're going to see these windy and gusty conditions stick around for the overnight period all the way into Wednesday morning, so you're definitely going to notice that when you're waking up on Wednesday. Another thing you're going to notice is there could be a few sprinkles on your doorstep as you take a step outside. Here we are at noon. In the late morning hours, we could see some isolated sprinkles. However, that main line of storms is going to hold off until the later afternoon hours. That's that cold front that's going to be passing through, bringing in a lot of rainfall with it. Now, earlier in its lifetime, there could be some embedded thunderstorms within that line of storms as well. The main risk with those, should they occur, would be the strong wind gusts. Since we already have those stronger wind speeds out there, adding on to those gusts could create for some dangerous wind gusts at times, so definitely be aware of that. This is going to continue to track. You'll see it's mainly taking a north-northwest route, and so it's going to be lulling over our area for quite some time, really allowing our area to get a lot of rainfall, because it's really not going to be taking it's not going to be taking too much time to get out of here. As we can see, it's really dumping rainfall on us until we go into the overnight periods. So an extended amount of rain, so we're expecting heavy rainfall amounts with it, especially if we do get those thunderstorms along with it. As we go into the early morning hours, that's when the low pressure system starts to pass through, circulating some additional showers as we go closer into the afternoon hours, but we're really not expecting much of that rainfall to move any further past that. Here's a look at the accumulation through Thursday evening. Again, areas mainly south of I-94 is going to see the heaviest amounts of the accumulation, where we could be seeing upwards of 2 inches in some localized areas. The rest of us are sitting anywhere between a quarter to an inch of rainfall, which is well needed because we are getting some areas of severe drought that are peaking up through northeastern Iowa that could eventually make their way up if we wouldn't get this rain. So hopefully it'll make an impact on those dry soils out there. We have some additional rain chances coming as we go into the weekend and into the beginning of next week, but the good news is Thursday night is looking dry, which bodes well for the trick-or-treaters. It's going to be a little bit chilly because that cold front will be passing through Wednesday. We'll finally get back down closer to average, and then as we get towards the trick-or-treating hours, we could be sitting in the mid-40s, so maybe a long sleeve under the costume. I don't ever want to say a winter coat because that always ruins the fun, so maybe just a long sleeve. We'll leave it at that.
Okay, that's good enough for me. I like that.
Good to keep in mind. Thank you, Nicole. Coming up next in sports, the Packers able to squeak past the Jags yesterday in a tight one down in Florida. Hear why Matt LaFleur is liking what he's seeing from one of the young studs on defense. Jacob is up next.
Proper installation of your new windows make a difference. The team at Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions are factory trained to make sure your windows are installed to last. Call or stop into the showroom for your free estimate.
This illegal immigrant was recently arrested in southwestern Wisconsin for a sexually violent attack on a woman, a suspected Venezuelan gang member who entered the U.S. just last year. Unfortunately, Steve Doyle supports sanctuary cities that protect criminals like this, and Doyle opposed sending resources to secure the border to keep dangerous criminals like Alejandro Jose Coronel Zarate away from our families. Steve Doyle's failures are destroying Wisconsin lives. Steve Doyle, unwilling to secure the border, unfit to serve.
You come alive in the dead of winter and start work early on snow days, because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to move, plow, blow, and thrive in the winter. So when the snow falls, you could rise to meet it.
Right now, receive 0% APR for 60 months and up to $2,300 off BX Series tractor packages. Visit any of your local Johnson Tractor dealerships in Menominee, Baldwin, Osseo, and Arcadia.
Who does Derek Van Orden think he is? This guy who reportedly shouted at kids in the U.S. Capitol? I don't give a who you are. I'm a congressman.
Derek Van Orden doesn't care about making our lives better. He'd make Wisconsinites pay just to give huge tax cuts to corporations and the wealthy. Van Orden even sides with extremists who tried to cut Social Security. Wisconsin deserves better, and Derek Van Orden does not belong in Congress.
HMP is responsible for the content of this advertising.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor. and the potential to take you anywhere.
Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Or get $5,750 total value on this Silverado.
Visit HometownChevy.com.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Eric Hovde owns a $3 billion California bank. That's right, he owns it.
And a $7 million mansion on the beach.
Eric Hovde proposed $4 trillion in new tax breaks for rich guys just like him.
And to pay for it, Hovde would cut Social Security by 28%.
Slash Medicare 25%.
And veterans benefits 40%.
Outrageous. Now we know what's wrong with Eric Hovde. This guy is not for us.
Covering all of the exciting action from your community, here's News 8 Now Sports.
Well, with losses by the Vikings and Bears in Week 7, the Packers now sit alone in second in the ever-competitive NFC North, which sets up a big game on Sunday against the Lions. In between important matchups against the Texans in Detroit, it was this one versus Jacksonville, which many believed could have been a trap game, but the Green and Gold did enough to get the job done, and they hold on for a 30-27 win. One of the stars from yesterday's game was rookie linebacker Edgerrin Cooper, who had a team-high 9 tackles and a forced fumble.
That was a huge sequence in the game. You're talking about the forced fumble, and I thought Devontae Wyatt did a heck of a job, kind of like bodying out the offensive lineman to get that ball. He's a young player. We see the splash plays. They're all over the place. He's dynamic. He's super athletic, and I think he's getting better and better each and every week.
And regarding injuries, well, it's good news today. Jordan Love has a strained groin, and he's considered day-to-day. Jair Alexander's MRI on his knee came back with no significant concerns, so his soreness will be monitored. And Evan Williams' hamstring injury also has no long-term concerns. He could be back against the Lions. After a second half where they were outscored 21-3, the Badgers relinquished their chance at pulling a top 3 upset at Camp Randall, falling 28-13. Wisconsin is now 0-5 against ranked teams under head coach Luke Fickell, but there's not much time to dwell on the loss. Iowa is not in the top 25, but it's a rivalry game, and the Badgers and Hawkeyes have similar records at 5-3 overall and 3-2 in the Big Ten. The message turns to how you respond after a loss like that from a couple days ago.
We want to and need to continue to build the things that we're doing in our program, and yeah, it can happen quick. It can happen faster. There's a lot of things that go along with it, but that's where we're still growing.
The Hawkeyes have won the last 2 matchups against the Badgers. First time that's happened since the 08-09 seasons. Kickoff for that one set for 6:30. Also tonight, Minnesota sectional volleyball playoffs, including Mabel Canton and Spring Grove and Buxton Celtics.
Oh boy.
For those games tonight at 10, so a packed show tonight. So make sure you come back for that one. But back to football for the weekend. Kind of different feelings for me after each game, being what it was. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I was there for the Badger game. Fun first half. They should have called it at the end of the first half when we were up 3. Packers, it had the feel of a trap game. They're clearly the better team, and Malik Willis did a good job in Jordan Love's stead.
I agree. Good
All
stuff.
right. Thank you, Jacob. We will check in on Jill Biden and Gwen Walls right after this.
Lane's Farm and Fleet's Fall Workwear event is going on now. We've got unbeatable deals on quality boots and apparel to help your hard-earned dollars go further. Like men's work and sport flannels starting at $24.99. Get $30 in Carhartt bucks for every $125 you spend on Carhartt gear. Shop our new assortment of brunch work boots in-store now. And Wells Lamont insulated work gloves, $10 off.
The hardest working people in America find value at Lane's Farm and Fleet.
Let's talk about Rebecca Cook. She's a political operative. She's worked for Defund the Police radicals across this country.
Cook spent millions getting Mandela Barnes elected, the most anti-law enforcement candidate in Wisconsin's history.
You remember Barnes, the guy who said reducing prison populations was sexy?
Defund the police radicals make it harder for us to keep you safe.
That's why we can't support Rebecca Cook, because she'll never support us.
Derek Van Orden, and I approve this message.
I'm Rebecca Cook, and like most folks in Wisconsin, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Oh, please. Don't be fooled by Rebecca Cook. She made her living trying to elect Democrat extremists. Cook proudly supported radicals who want to defund police, end cash bail, and throw open the border. No wonder extremists like AOC are spending big bucks to elect liberals like Cook. Rebecca Cook, just another liberal trying to fool you. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Are record high energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today.
Well, First Ladies Jill Biden and Gwen Walz are in the La Crosse Center for a campaign rally.
This is their first campaign event together during the election cycle. Let's take a brief listen inside.
Ever fought before. And you know what? We will. Because never underestimate a public school teacher. I am so proud to be among teachers. Wisconsin and Minnesota neighbors. We are pretty lucky to have one heck of a public school teacher with us today. First Lady Jill Biden has been a unifying force for our country, championing causes that bring us together, like advocating for military spouses and families, lifting up her fellow educators in community colleges. Yes? And working to end cancer as we know it, and that's just to name a few. Right? But what is so remarkable about her is that despite the prestige of being the First Lady of the United States of America, for many,
well, here's the official trick-or-treat forecast. A pretty nice one, a little chilly, but it could always be worse. It could be raining or snowing. You don't even want to think about snow, but it could be. So I think it's a pretty nice Halloween forecast.
Not too bad.
We'll take it.
It needs to snow. That's a big difference.
Yes, it is. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6.
We'll see you at 10.